I don't know about you, but one of my greatest desires for playing guitar was simple. I just wanted to be able to sit down and play a song. I wanted to sound recognizable and complete all by myself. Now, before I finally figured this out, I tried a lot of things. And one of those things that I tried was buying a looper pedal. If you've ever seen one of these, it's just a little pedal that you plug into and you can hit the button on it and it'll start recording whatever you play into it. Then you can hit the button again and it'll play back what you played during that time period. So it creates a loop right away. And I was holding this pedal. I was so excited. This was awesome. I felt like Gollum from The Lord of the Rings when he found the precious. And I was like, this is it. I can finally sound like two guitar players. I can play all this awesome stuff. And basically all my problems were solved until I started getting more experience and going out and playing in the real world. And I ran into a lot of problems using the looper pedal. And one of those problems I figured out was that I was actually locked into the loop. It was almost like I had handcuffs put on my music. And let me explain to you what I mean. I've got a looper pedal plugged in, and what you can do, you might start, playing a rhythm part like this. Change chords. And then I'll turn it off. Here we go, back to B minor. Off. Okay, so now this is playing back what I just played. So you could solo on top of that, So now I've got these things going, but the problem is that if you want to go to a different part of the song, you can't. You're actually locked into the loop. And a lot of times live, you might want to change something up. You might want to go to a different section, or you might want to break away from that loop. And this can be difficult to do if you have the looper pedal going. In fact, it's hard to turn it off because once you turn it off, it's like you had two guitars and now you're back to one. And so the music kind of drops a little bit. So that was one of the problems. The second problem that I ran into was that you have to play the rhythm into it. So I just played a quick little rhythm of like two chords, just a little part of a song. Now, if you have a song that just repeats over and over the same thing, like a lot of boring pop songs, then, you can use a loop, and those are actually the best songs to use a looper on. But if you have a full song that maybe has verses and choruses and different sections, then you have to sit there recording in the rhythm. Like, let's say I wanted to play the song yesterday. I might go, here's the rhythm. So you gotta go 3 minutes or something, to record the whole song, just strumming away while your audience is going to be bored to death, actually. And you will lose people. They will lose interest in what you're playing because you just have chords going on. You don't have any melody. There's no singing and whatnot. So that can be a problem. You have to plan for that. And if you're sitting there strumming on stage, you're going to bore your audience. So that's another issue. Now, there's a lot of things I can talk about with looper pedals and the problems, but let me tell you about the final straw that sort of broke the camel's back, so to speak. One time I was playing a gig with this great singer. It was a duo gig. We were playing in this high rise in LA, and it was just like this lounge way up, on this top floor overlooking the city. And we were playing this pop song, Pumped Up Kicks. And so I had played this bass line. Bass line goes something like that, and so I kind of played that into a looper pedal, and then I started doing, kind of playing some chords on top. And so I layered loop upon loop, and we had the whole groove going. The audience was getting into it, and the singer was singing amazing. And then they threw it to me to take a solo. And I was like, I had this all planned out in my mind. I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'll have all these parts. And now I'm just going to go crazy and rip this solo. And so it gets to that point, and keep in mind, I'm the only instrument on stage, okay? It's just duo. It's me and a singer. So I'm holding down everything. Like I said, I had that bass line going, I had the chords going. And right when I go to solo, I finish the last loop, I hit the pedal, and I go into like the first note, this big screaming bend. And right when I hit the pedal, all the sound completely turns off. Everything is dead, the loops stop, and not only that, the sound from my guitar was like gone. So I'm sitting there like, hitting this solo note, and all they hear is like the plinking, no one could hear anything coming through the amp. And I'm like, what? All of a sudden the music just comes to like a screeching halt. It's like when the record, skips off the thing, needle, and I'm like panicking. So I reach down to my pedal and I'm like trying to figure it out. I thought something got unplugged, maybe it was my guitar. Had nothing to do with my guitar. It was just the looper pedal. And so last resort, what I had to do was literally just unplug from the looper pedal and just go straight into the amp, right? So just like bypass everything. All of a sudden my sound comes back. I just kind of like look at the singer and we like go into the next song. I just had to shrug it off. But we had a set break after that, and I was messing with it on the set break. I was like, what happened? I'm like checking the cables, blah, blah, unplugging it, plugging it back in, trying to reset the pedal. Nothing works. There was no sound going through this, and everything was done. So I had to just play the rest of the set, plug straight in. And in my opinion, this is sort of like a chink in your armor in a sense of like, if this goes wrong, it's almost like playing a song with a capo where you really need this capo, and then all of a sudden you don't have a capo and you have to like, what are you gonna do, And so I ended up not being able to fix it until I went home and called the company, and they had to like walk me through going on their site, USB hooking the pedal up to the computer, running a diagnostic, like re-downloading the software to it and rebooting the whole thing. The point is that it was a bummer, and there was no way that I was gonna solve that at the gig that night. And so after all these problems, I actually ended up finding a way that I think is like 15 times better than a looper pedal, a way to play where you can have all the sounds at once. Now I say 15 times better, it's like, well, where did you get that number? Yeah, well, I made that number up, but I think when you hear what I'm talking about, you'll actually agree that it's conservative. So if you think about a looper pedal, you may have a bass line that you record in, and then maybe some chords, right? And then you can fancy up the rhythm, like you might go like, So now it sounds like I've got two things going on at once. Now let's say you wanted to add a melody to that, like, while keeping all the other parts going. Well, that might sound like this. Most guitar players have no idea how this works, and the idea is that you're actually being a full band. You're playing the chords and the melody and the rhythm and the bass lines all at once. And it's different than, say, chord melody. This is where a lot of players, in my opinion, go wrong. They start, they find out about this, oh, this is such a genius concept. It's playing chords and melody, and that's what I need, and then a lot of jazzers play things like, parts like that, but it doesn't really sound like, where you got all these different elements happening at once. And the answer to that is learning to train your fingerpicking hand to play the different parts. And anyone can do it. You just got to go step by step. And if you've struggled with this, then go to johnmclennan.com/fingerstyle jumpstart and get your hands on my fingerstyle PDF guide. This is going to show you 5 powerful exercises to start unlocking your fingerpicking hand so you can play complete and recognizable songs all by yourself. And it's completely free. Just go to johnmclennan.com/fingerstyle jumpstart and you'll discover how this is at least 15 times better than using a looper pedal. Hope you got some value out of this video. Thanks for watching, and if you like this one, you might enjoy this one next.